Yes, people, hope everyone is doing good. As you can see, look, you see it there? Still there a little bit. A little bit of a lump. You see it? Yeah. We're getting there though. I can speak a bit more. Not perfect, as you can tell. But yeah. We're getting on the road to recovery now. It's very warm. We've got a new friend in the back with a fan. Uh, let's just get into it. So with this one, obviously I'm going to do tactics as usual, but I'm not going to go deeply into it as I did the others. I think a lot of you know and have witnessed what Daniel Farke football is. I'll just quickly do a little bit, and then I'm going to talk about the recruitment side of it and question why maybe he failed in the Premier League. So let's get into that right now. So yeah, here we are. 4-2-3-1 is what they will play, likely under Farke. What he did play when he was at Norwich in the Championship. Now, in terms of pressing, typically the number 9, and it's very aggressive and very effective press from what I've seen from them. They're very good at it. The 9 and the 10 will press the centre backs and the goalkeeper. Now, if the fullbacks get the ball, and this is interesting, what will happen is that our fullbacks or the team's fullbacks will actually join in the press to create this kind of shape. The wingers and the fullbacks will work together to support that press, and there's a little box here to protect the back. I can't speak. This is what it will look like. If the ball is come out wide, there will be a winger or a fullback who will press. You know, obviously looking in here, scanning the options. Obviously, look, it won't be both at both times. You know what I mean? So obviously they'll be back here. If it's over this side, it will look more like this, right? But at one side, this is the area you are looking at, and this is the type of press you are looking for. With these two, 10 pushing up with the 9 to really press the centre backs and the goalkeeper to force them out wide to then create an overload in the press in the wide area to win the ball up high. So imagine this press is beaten, right? It's beaten. They've gone past the two strikers, the guy playing the striker, and they're now in this midfield area. So what Norwich did, actually, they maintained a good block, kind of like a mid block in a 4-4-2 shape, I guess you could say. What would happen now is these midfielders. So the emphasis would be on waiting for a mistake or finding the right time to press. So if you're in this area here and the press is on a heavy touch, or you're in a position where you think you can win the ball, these guys will vacate this mid area to be aggressive and win that ball back with the press. You know, the aim in this area now, if they don't win the ball back, is to make them start again, make them go back. And it's always about dictating the areas in which they play. If they beat the press, you go into a solid block so they cannot just run through you. And the press is then initiated when there's a mistake or an opportunity to initiate it in midfield. The idea then is to, of course, make them play back and force them backwards in that block. Once they force them backwards, you can then initiate again the original press you wanted, if that makes sense. Well, for example, you're in this position here, they've just beaten this press. Obviously, the fullback is extremely high, right? Because he's pressed with the winger. So what they will do in this situation is they will create a kind of a back 3, kind of like this. The fullback will really sit in there, and they'll create 5 there. See? To really protect back 3 here, to really protect against the fullback, to not get exposed on the counter. The fullback will tuck in, they will create a back 3, and the cross midfields, they will maintain this low kind of block, mid to low block in that situation if that was to happen out wide. You know, a lot of this tactic is very strongly based on forcing the opposition into areas they don't want to be in. So in this position here, obviously, ignore, you know, there's loads more players. I'm being, you know, focusing on the area we're at. You know, if they want them to go back, they will make them go back. We would want to press them, force them down an alley they don't want to go down. Right, if there's a guy up here, and that's the only option, initiate that press there, ball goes in there, you have options to press. It's about making them go wide or back, not through or forward. Or if it is forward, be a position where we are in an advanced position to win the ball more likely than them, or we have more men around the ball to win it as opposed to them. Creating overloads defensively as well as attackingly in an attacking area. Right, it's all about creating areas on the pitch which we have numerical advantage to press or to exploit them. Make them go back or wide to then initiate a press. If you see yourself in, we've just won the ball up high, right? We just won the ball up from them. They're trying to retreat. What we will look to do, or Farke football would look to do, is for initially, if you want to counter quickly, where is that pass? Can you go into the striker? The striker will make the run in an area where you can pass the ball, and then it's the same thing in wide areas. The forwards, the midfielders, firstly, will always look quickly. Can we play the ball quickly? Is that option on? Then it will be about quick movement in there and creating more overloads in these areas again. Yeah. Creating 3v2, 3v1 moments with the fullbacks always overlapping if it is the space they need. Just creating overloads in these areas, create numerical advantage to get the fullbacks coming in behind them. Like we saw with Caleb and Bielsa, similar to that in terms of the fullbacks role. They're always overlapping, they're always looking to go forward and create an overload in a wide area. In quick transition, when we've just won the ball back in our defence and we're looking to go forward, this is what we will do. Look for the striker, then look to play wide and develop an overload. But in terms of playing out, in terms of possession, what do they do in possession? What do they do with the ball? Of course, I've shown you what they can do quickly on the counter, but Farke seem really like to hold the ball and be patient with it. He loves possession, he loves keeping the ball, create numerical advantages further up the pitch to then create attacks, right? So the ball is at the key here, the fullback, and it's important that at least one of the centre-backs is good at playing the ball out from the back in terms of running forward with it, like we saw with Ben White. This was was it Godfrey? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Gibson? No, he was after. Ben Godfrey, yeah, Ben Godfrey. A guy who, if a team's pressing high, for example, and they're trying to cover off all the passes, would simply just, can you see me here? Wait, just check you can see me. Yeah, would simply run forward with the ball. Now, the idea is the two centre-backs and the sitting player, so this would be the CDM, is to create a triangle thing to beat a press as well, if his needs be, who would then be happily on possession to take up these middle areas here, so then we can beat their press. See the triangle? Playing through this triangle here, so playing into this guy. If he's been pressed, he goes back. If he's been pressed, he goes out. If he's then been pressed, can we look into the midfield? Right? Or can we look out wide? These three have to be comfortable to hold the ball in this system. They have to be very good on the ball, and at least one of them has to be good at driving with the ball. That's another option. If they're going man for man here, and you can't rotate out of it using triangles, and there's not an option in midfield because they're going really tight man to man, have that confidence to drive with it, then they have to initiate. Then you're looking at the areas to exploit. Once these guys have to initiate that centre back because he's beaten this press, boom, then the gaps start to come in midfield, as you can see. Obviously, there's less of them. I know. Forget about the opponents. I'm just focusing on our team, right? On Farke's team. I keep saying our, he's not our manager yet. This is what it's all about. Roles and individuals in this team are really important to have the right characteristics in certain positions. The fullbacks have to be energetic going forward. They have to be good on the ball. The wingers really have to be decent technical players. The striker has to have good hold-up play, good movement, and be a good finisher. The 10 has to be really technical, kind of like a Buendia or a Pablo type player. Again, recruitment is important in this system. But that's what he likes to do. He likes to hold the ball at the back, play the ball, and keep possession. Waiting to get these two who will advance in these areas, in the mid-space, the mid-gaps, what you want to call them, to then turn with the ball and then look for the striker or the winger to create overloads in wide areas. Possession-based football, exciting football I will enjoy watching. Look, as we'll get into it, that was never my first choice. And it's important that we notice right now, before we talk about, well, in the Premier League, but in the Premier League, and I'm going to go into that in 1 second, but I'll just say, in the Premier League, we're not there. We have to focus on now. If we could get a manager that we strongly believed and has proof that he's good in the Championship and then he's good in the Premier League, you'd get him. But who is that? There's one man, Brendan Rodgers. Can we get him? If not, this is the option we have to go with. Someone who is proven at this level. Right? Carlos Corberhan, I would love him. He's still my number 1 or number 2, whatever it was. We're not getting my number 1. He's still my number 2. But Farke, for me, is proven. And we'll get into that right now with the recruitment. Let's go. Right, so what we'll do now is we'll focus on the 18-19 season. Daniel Farke came in 17-18. He had to, he established himself. He understood his style, how to adapt it to the Championship. Kind of a setting year in the Premier League, in the English leagues. So we'll start on 18-19, where Norwich did an amazing job and finished on 94 points. And let's look at the 18-19 transfer window. In 18-19, they sold Maddison and Murphy. They're probably their two best players for a combined 30 million quid. Euros. 30 million euros. Around 30 million euros. And that's what they got in player sales. They got 37 million euros in player sales. And all they did was invest 5 million into the squad. Having sold your best two players with 30 million euros plus, and then to spend 5 million is difficult to work with. Clearly, you have to replace them. And then you have to replace them with better. You have to build the squad. Finish all that and bring in the highest value player was 1.7 million, and then get 94 points in a season is very impressive, having sold your best players. Good recruitment is a part of that. Buendia, as we know, and Pislak and I think Leitner did well for Norwich. Getting Timo Pukki on a free. That's my point. He did this working with the recruitment team to bring in players who would work for him. That's what's vital about this guy. You have to give what he needs. These players were identified as players that will work in his system, and they all work perfectly in his system. Why, on a little budget of 5 million quid, they managed to get 94 points, having lost their best two players. So then they get promoted to the Premier League. In the 1920 season, they get promoted in the Premier League. They sell no one. They keep the team, really. They sell a few players, but they keep their team. They only spend 8 million. So this guy's just got promoted on 94 points, right? And the way Norwich work, they don't spend a lot. We know that. That's how they stay efficient. That's their way of doing it. Go to the Premier League and only spend 8 million. What do you expect a manager to do? Seriously, what do you expect a manager to do? They got relegated, right? They didn't do very well. 21 points. That is a lie, because it's more than that, right? They won 5 games, and then drew 6. It's more than that. Anyway, what do you expect a manager to do? Going to the Premier League, you spent 8 million quid. That is working miracles and a half just to keep them in the league. And he didn't manage it. They get relegated. They sell their best players in Ben Godfrey and Jamal Lewis to Everton and Newcastle respectively. Get around 40 million for them. So then you're already working to build the squad back up to get to the Premier League, but you sold your best two players. Okay, issues. They spend 13 million. Again, considering you've sold 44 million worth and you've got parachute payments, 13 million isn't a lot to regenerate an entire squad. It isn't. But again, they spent effectively and they did well. And they only brought in players worth 3 million, 2 million. Nothing more. Nothing crazy. Some free transfers that clearly did decent as well, and some loans. But with little financial backing, with all the parachute payments and the money they got on sold players, 30 million is not a lot. And they finished on 97 points in that season. 2020-21. 97 points from that recruitment, from that amount of money being spent, having sold your best players. That is 1, good recruitment, and 2, excellent coaching. Now, again, the problem was when they finished on 97 points, which is crazy, by the way. Go to the Premier League again. They sell Buendia, their best player. They sell him to Villa. They get 35 to 40 million pounds for him. Right? That's how much they get in player sales. They sell their best player, so they're already thinking, well, we need to replace him. We'll use that money to buy players in. They spend 63 million, which is the most they have spent. However, it's still not a lot considering you lost your best player and you sold him for 35 million pounds. And you bring in these players, but you look at the players, there's no real names, there's no real quality in there. There's a lot of unproven stuff. Was he backed? Did the players he want come? I'm not sure. We don't know. That's the point. My point is, even 63 million, it sounds like a lot, but we spent over 100 million our first season. It's not a lot of money. Especially when you lose your best player and you have to work on replacing them originally. Norwich are a side that they don't back the manager with funds. They try to use good recruitment to bring in good players who they can sell for more money. That's how they work, and it's an effective model for them. That top 26 mentality that they spoke about. At Leeds, it's different. You bring a manager and you back the manager. I think it's different in the new era. You bring a manager in, you back that manager with good players, good transfer budgets. Not out of this world, but decent transfer budgets, more than what Norwich have. You get the players he wants and you build. That's what I think we will do. Now, of course, it's difficult to, I guess, figure out what Farke did and if he would work in the Premier League, because he did fail twice in the Premier League. He did. I not deny. I think he got in the Premier League was terrible, considering what he had to deal with in terms of player sales and the players that were brought in. The time he got money, the time when he had to lose his best player for 40 million. So a lot of that money was from the player sale. And they didn't bring any marquee signing. They brought in players for 10, 11 million euros. No 20 million, no 25 million pound players, right? That's going to be difficult to stay in the league. And I'm thinking, is there a manager in the Championship right now that we could get right now who's proven he can do it in the Championship and the Premier League? There's Brendan Rodgers. Can you get him? If not, is there anyone better than to get us out of the league, which is what the 49ers need desperately for them and for us right now? Is there anyone better than Farke? Probably not. 3 seasons in there, 2 seasons he dominated it. Won the league, manager of the year, dominated it on low, modest budgets. That cannot be sniffed at. Now, of course, you want to think about what in the Premier League, but the 49ers, for them, they just want to get there. Of course, they'll have plans and ideas about the Premier League, but they need to get in there, and the best path to them is safety. Who's a manager that's done it? Who's a manager that's been there and done that? And again, I want Carlos. Look, don't get me wrong. I'd love Carlos Cobra. But someone that has done it is Daniel Farke. Proven it. And he plays exciting football. It's a good brand of football we will enjoy as a fan base in the Championship. The Premier League issue is what they decide at the end of the season. Do we back this guy? Do we give him chance? Do we give him money? Buy good players in the Premier League? Do we go for it? Or do we get rid of him and get someone in who is proven in the Premier League? Do we work on that model? I don't know. But for right now, and what we need to get us back up there, Daniel Farke is a very good option. That is what I will say. You know, we have to look at that. We have to think about this modestly. But we're in the Championship right now, and we need to get out of it. And the 49ers' business is to get out of it quickly. They will spend some money, not millions and millions and millions, obviously. They'll spend a good amount of money to back the manager. Because they have to, because they want to be out of this league. They want to turn Leeds into a $1 billion company. And they have to be out of the Championship as soon as possible to do that. They will not want to hang around. If they get him in, they will back him in that initial thought to get us up to the Premier League. Then the conversation is about what do you do next. But right now, that is not the conversation for them. That is a plan in the future. They've probably got plans for that, but that is the future. Right now, it's who do we bring in and who will get us up there. Farke is clearly one of their options. I still want Brendan Rodgers. That's seemingly difficult. I will take Farke. He's a very good coach. In this league, he's proven he can do it endless times. The problem with the Premier League is something we will deal with when we go up. There's not someone I can envision that will do well, who's proven in the Championship he can do that now and then take us up and do well there. Carlos is that risk. I don't know if the 49ers want that risk as their first choice. That's my thing. I would. But I don't know if they would. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. It's a very interesting topic. But yeah, I appreciate all the support as usual. You guys are legends. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll be back tomorrow. Please like and subscribe because my face hurts. It hurts to speak. Yeah, I appreciate the support. Let me know what you guys think.